A number of speakers this morning talked about the importance of storytelling, particularly as we come to tackle the perception of our industry as a career of choice. Now, going forwards, we will be in touch with all of you, each of you, to play a greater role in sharing your stories, helping to promote the career journeys that you have enjoyed, so that we can begin to share those narratives with a much wider audience as we go forwards. But to kickstart us, I think it would be very exciting, of course. I thought it was very exciting when I was introduced to this group called DebateMate, a charity. Stephen Cassidy, whom you'll see in a moment, also from Hilton, introduced me to Jess Dix, who I'm going to invite to come onto the stage in a moment. And when we started to discuss DebateMate, what they do, how they do it, and how they go about it, it just seemed to ring very, very true, a very timely meeting, as we at the BHA had decided to take a little bit of a risk and really expose ourselves at this summit to really understanding what the perceptions of our businesses and our industry as a career choice are, which is why the next debate is so exciting. I won't tell you much more about it because I will let Jess do that. Jess Dix is the Executive Director at DebateMate, and she is also the Managing Director at Genesis Debate Programs. So ladies and gentlemen, please give her a big round of applause.
Just about to say, I don't think I've ever had introductory music, so that was very exciting. Thank you very much, Ufi, and we're really delighted to be here today and to start our partnership with BHA. Really looking forward to what's to come. As Ufi said, I've come here with two hats, partly with DebateMate, where I'm the Executive Director, but also with Genesis Debate Programs. We're a social business that started off on the charity side with DebateMate. 10 years ago, it was set up as a skills program to create social mobility in the UK. Our CEO is Australian, she was a barrister, and she was really struck by the lack of social mobility that existed, and actually looked at what were the skills that we could provide to young people to support them in breaking out of the cycles of poverty that existed in the UK. She realized that the skills that were lacking were actually taught through debating. So it's skills that you use every day in your day-to-day work: communication, teamwork, critical thinking, resilience, and we always say at the heart of it is confidence. We're not really, through our program in schools, aiming to create amazing debaters, although we do, and we've got some fantastic ones that are going to be here with us in the debate this afternoon. We're about the transferable skills that debating teaches. So on DebateMate side, on the charity side, we set up and run after-school debate clubs in schools in areas of high child poverty to create these amazing young people that can go on and be successful in their lives. What happened off the back of that was people, corporate supporters that supported the charity, were coming to our events and saying, yeah, we'll support you, definitely, but actually that 12-year-old is fantastic. Firstly, can our staff have those skills? And secondly, can they come and work for us, please? And so GDP was born, Genesis Debate Programs was born. And we designed and developed a professional communications training program. And over the past 3 years, it's gone from strength to strength and has allowed us to fund our charity going forward. We've worked across all of the main industries, from sporting. Last year, we did a program with the Premier League, working actually with Liverpool and Tottenham Hotspur, and I know we've got some people from there, from those clubs here today, to finance and legal, right the way through to hospitality, which I would say is the industry that we work in most regularly. Delighted that Steve invited us to meet Ufi and that he's going to be in the debate today. Hilton are one of our biggest clients, and we actually started off working with Steve's executive team 2 years ago. We also work with Dorchester and internationally with Sandals Hotel, as well as Harrods in the UK. Most recently, we've expanded our work to media, and we've done a lot of work in pitching training for the BBC. So we say, no matter if you're an 8-year-old in Hackney learning to debate on our program, or if you're a senior exec within the corporate world, everyone needs to know how to communicate. Communication's the bottom line, whatever you do in life. And listening to the speeches here today, I think it's clear that this industry, hospitality industry, is very forward-thinking, but that you need access to really skilled up young people. And actually, Ed Balls' answer to my question earlier about young people and the prospects that they have and the lack of skills that he feels are evident in education, I think it's extra important that we have programs like ours to equip those young people with skills. And we're really excited about working further with the hospitality industry because we have amazing young people who are ready for their next challenge. We're already working with apprenticeship programs like White Hat and also with Careers and Enterprise, who I know are here today, working in opportunity areas to provide skills for young people for their futures. And even within Hilton and Dorchester, we're talking about placing our first young people straight out of school. So we're really excited about this journey and what's to come, which takes me nicely onto why we're here this afternoon, for the debate. We were delighted to be asked to take part in this debate. It's a fairly controversial topic. I don't know if anyone's come up to our stall. We've had some fish bowls for agree and disagree, and I think the agree one has remained empty. Everyone seems to be going with the disagree. So the motion is, this House believes that hospitality is just a holiday job. And we're excited that we have our team of experts that are arguing against that, and also our team of young people that are arguing for it. They've asked me to say, as in all debates, they've been placed on their side. They're not necessarily arguing for what they believe in. The aim of this debate is for us to have a fresh perspective in line with the 360-degree perspective theme of this conference. So we find that debates are a really engaging way to bring about issues and to discuss issues in a constructive way, where people aren't necessarily putting forward their views. So before I get onto the rules and explain how it's all going to work, please join me in welcoming onto the stage our debaters. Okay, we were just in the green room back there and everyone was like, I'm a bit nervous about this. So we're really looking forward to this debate. A reminder that the motion is, this House believes that hospitality is just a holiday job. On my right, we have the proposition team, and on my left, we have the opposition team. The proposition are arguing for the motion, and the opposition are arguing against. We should have Joe, yes, sitting on a stool over there, who's going to be our timekeeper for the debate. Each speaker will have 3 minutes to put forward the case for their side. After 30 seconds, Joe will be clapping, like this. That means that something called a point of information is open for the side that are not speaking. It's a short interruption that can either be accepted or rejected by the speaker. At 2 minutes 30 seconds, Joe will also clap again, like this. And that means points of information are closed. And then we'll have a double clap at 3 minutes to let the speaker know that their time's up. We'll be going backwards and forwards between the sides, so we'll begin with the proposition, then we'll go to the opposition, then we'll go back to the proposition, and then over to the opposition. Before we hear from the last speaker on each side, we'll be coming to you. So you're not just sitting there listening and taking it all in, you're going to be actively involved in this debate through the floor questions or points. So please be thinking about your views on the debate this afternoon. And during the floor debate, you'll have an opportunity to ask any questions or make points. The questions won't be responded individually, but they'll be responded by the summary speakers from either side. The last thing to say is we don't have a judging panel here. You're going to be the judges for this debate. So we're going to be coming to you at the end to decide who you think has won or lost. And before we begin the debate, we thought it might be quite a good idea to get everyone a bit warmed up. So we're going to do a stand-up, sit-down according to who you think has won, who you think should win the debate. So your views on the topic now. So if you agree with the topic, so if you think that hospitality is just a holiday job, you're going to remain seated. And if you disagree, you're going to stand up. So if everyone could do that now, please. Remain seated if you think it's a holiday job, and stand up if you think it's not. That's what we thought. We thought we'd get everyone standing up. And maybe you want to shake out, ready for the debate a little bit. And then take a seat. Thank you. I think that was just our team at the back shaking out. We're used to working with thousands of young people at our events. We're like, should we get them to do a Mexican wave? Maybe not. Okay, so without further ado, let's get stuck in with the debate. Really excited to see the points from each side. So opening our debate this afternoon is Scarlett. Scarlett also runs Genesis debate programs with me. She's worked with DebateMate since the very beginning. Prior to her professional career, she was at the London School of Economics and she represented them in the World Debating Competition, World Championships. She's also a trained lawyer and worked for Slaughter and May previously. And since she's been at DebateMate, she actually set up our program in Jamaica and ran our corporate training there with Sandals Hotel Group and the Jamaica Inn. I asked all of these youngish people what they'd like to do when they grow up, and Scarlett said, oh my God, you have to even ask me, when I'm older, I want to run a hotel. So give it up for Scarlett.
Thanks, Jess. I think the last time I was here was actually after we got back from the World Debating Championships. And we had a little party, a celebration party, and there's definitely a bit more decorum in the room now than there was then. So I'm here today to open the case for the proposition, to tell you why we think that hospitality is 100% just a holiday job. I think our side of the debate has lowered the average age in this audience by about 20 years. So it'd be interesting to hear a little bit of a fresh perspective, as it were. There's very little that me, as a privately school-educated corporate lawyer, there's very little that I have in common with the 6,000 young people that go through the DebateMate program per week. Very little, except one thing. And that one thing is at age 17, 18, 19, to be honest, up until about 2 years ago when I met Steve at Hilton, we would never have considered hospitality a career choice. Not because it isn't one, but because we just had no idea. At university careers fairs, there was never, next to Deloitte, Freshfields, the civil service, there was never, Steve standing there handing me out a free pen saying, do you know all the amazing opportunities there are at Hilton? And actually, it took me until about 2 years ago when we met Steve till I realized, oh my goodness, the wealth of opportunities available to anyone of any background, regardless of how much education they have, is huge. And actually, not only is it a good career choice, but I think it's one of the best career choices because of the wealth of opportunities there are. It took me up until 2 years ago to realize that, and also probably realize that I made the wrong career choice. Sorry, Jess. But you compare this to somewhere like Jamaica, where we set up DebateMate and we've been going for 4 years, where a career in hospitality is up there. It's up there with being Usain Bolt or being the next Bob Marley. I mean, not quite, but it's considered a serious profession because that is one of the only real income streams that a lot of young people would consider. But people know about it, they understand all the different options. To young people, and the young people that we work with, and to me when I was growing up, a career in hospitality meant, waitressing at my local pub, or working in event spaces like this when I was at uni. We didn't understand or know about all of the different options out there. And I think not only did we not know about it, but our parents didn't know about it. My mum wasn't at home saying, oh, do you know what? You want to be a lawyer, but you could also be a lawyer for a hotel company, or you want to go into investment banking, or you want to go into consultancy. What about the feasibility team at Hilton? They're doing amazing things. I had no idea. I had absolutely none. And I think that's
Point of information.
Yeah, Steve, please. I was hoping you were going to interrupt me. I've been saying some quite controversial things.
No, I'm just wondering why, therefore, research amongst Springboard has found that 53% of young people would consider a career in hospitality.
And that's a really good poll, and I think Springboard are doing amazing things, but I know for a fact that 53% of the young people that we work with would not know about it, not because they wouldn't consider it, but just because they don't know about it. And I think that brings me back to the main question that we have as a proposition. The opposition are going to stand up, and they're going to tell you all the amazing things that a career in hospitality gives you as why it's not a holiday job. We're going to hear from Springboard, and they're going to tell you all the statistics and the data, which I'm not disputing. I'm not saying they're wrong. What I'm saying is we have 6,000 young people who go through our program a week, who don't know about it, who want to consider it. They're here. They're ready. Come get us. Come and get us as an industry. The burden is on you. Go into the schools, go into the communities, and recruit the young people and prove to them just what an amazing career a job in hospitality will give you. Thank you very much.
Very good.
Thank you very much, Scarlett, for that fantastic opening speech on side proposition, and to Steve for the interjection there. You just got in there with the timing. I was hoping you were going to ask one. So now we go over to side opposition, and our first speaker is Elaine Brow. She's VP HR Europe and Group for the Intercontinental Hotel Group. And I've been really excited watching her prepare for the debate earlier, getting quite competitive with Scarlett. And she also told me that she's been getting some tips from her teenage sons on how to win this debate. So let's hope that her team do end up winning. Give it up for Elaine.
Thank you. I'm just glad my teenage sons are not here today to witness this. But thank you very much, Scarlett, for your points. Just a couple of things I do want to clarify is that there are many of us in this room actually, that are going out into the community and are going out into schools to spread the message. Granted, there's probably more that we can do, but we do have a voice. We need to make more of it. Over 3 million people that work in the hospitality industry can't be wrong that it is a great place to have a longer term career, many of those young people. So, having been in hospitality for over 25 years, I can safely say that our dynamic yet very stable industry is a great industry to grow your career. And I can bombard you with lots of facts, but actually I'm just going to tell you a couple of stories. And the first one is a story about a young man named Keith, who actually started working in a hotel as a holiday job, as a chef. And then when he graduated, he decided that he wanted to work in hospitality. He then did a number of roles on property. He did some F&B roles, room division, worked his way to general manager. And then he went to some off-property roles and did some corporate roles. His career took him from the Americas, where he was born and raised, to Australia, and then to China, where he actually led the growth strategy for IHG. He then came back to Europe to take the role of our Chief Commercial Officer, a global, very challenging role. And he's now our eminent CEO of Intercontinental Hotels. But it's not just Keith. There's also Angela, who runs our Europe region. She started on the front desk at a hotel in Florida. After a number of roles in the Americas, she now leads our Europe region. And of course, there's my own story. I started on a youth training scheme in a travel agents. I then joined British Airways as a contact centre agent, and over a career of 21 years, I had a number of lateral roles, not just progression roles. And I'm now leading HR in Intercontinental Hotels. So I've done a number of roles across a number of disciplines: sales, marketing, IT, HR, and I've also moved sectors.
Point of information.
I'm sorry?
Point of information.
Okay.
While these are amazing stories, do you think these are stories which the average young person knows about?
To your point, I think we can do far more in telling our stories. And one of our challenges is to do far more of that. So our buzzword is success through variety, whether it's in hotels, whether it's in corporate, whether it's in operations or finance, because hospitality opens the door to the world. You can meet lots of different cultures, and you don't even have to travel to different countries to get that, although the opportunity is there. International guests will come to you. And you can climb the ladder fast if you want to. This is an industry where you can take on responsibility very early in your career. So with the right attitude and hard work, you can find yourself progressing quite quickly, or you can do a number of lateral roles. It's not a 9-to-5 job, and that's what's so exciting about our industry. No 2 days are the same. But the people that work in this industry have a special purpose. What type of job can you go to every day and your sole purpose is to make people smile? That's why the hospitality industry is a great career.
Thank you very much, Elaine, for opening the case for side opposition and for sharing with us such inspiring stories. So now we go to side proposition again, and our second speaker is Ade. Ade's 22 years old, and he's got quite a special story in that he's kind of been through every stage of the DebateMate program. So he started out at school in Newham on the DebateMate program, attending an after-school club at his school. He then went on to study at the University of Nottingham, where he became a mentor. So our programs are taught by university students that go into the schools. And so he ran the program in Nottingham and mentored on it. And then last year he came to work as a program director in the DebateMate HQ. He was president of his debate society whilst he was at Nottingham. And for DebateMate, he runs a really exciting program that we run called Debate Box, which you might think is a bit weird, but we actually combine debating and boxing as a way to engage young boys that wouldn't have necessarily chosen to get involved in a debating program. It's really, really successful. And actually, a competition that ADE ran recently, we had Anthony Joshua tweet us, good luck. So it's got some great support. ADE was also a star of our TV show, Kings and Queens of Speech, that was a primetime show on Sky One a couple of years ago. And I said to Ade, what does he want to do? Although we hope he'll stay with DebateMate forever. He says, well, obviously I want to be a boxer, but if that doesn't work out, maybe a consultant. So give it up for Ade.
So today I want to discuss the joy of the summer holiday hospitality job. I want to tell you guys that it's not all bad. A lot of people start off their careers, their enjoyable and fulfilling careers, and an introduction to the world of work by working in a holiday hospitality job. For many, that is the full extent to which they will engage with the hospitality sector. They may never come back, but that's fine, because the hospitality sector benefits, and so do they. And that's the main crux of my argument today. I'm going to look at why the summer holiday hospitality job is getting a bad rep in this debate today. But before that, I want to look at some of the stuff we heard from the other side of the debate today, because they told us this is a great industry in which you can build your career. And we agree with you. Of course, it's a great industry you can build your career in. But that just doesn't matter if people don't know that this career exists, right? It is key that the hospitality sector tells us about what opportunities exist for people to be able to use those opportunities for their benefit. We would also say we need to give people an idea of behind the waiter or the waitress, right? We need to get young people to be able to see higher up in the organization so they can think about more than just, the waiter or the barman, and they can think about managing their pub or whatever establishment, okay? So I think that, we agree that there is that fulfilling career, but there needs to be more. So why do I think that the summer holiday hospitality job is such a good thing? Number one, give me two seconds. I'll come back to you. So, number one, we think this is a great introduction to the world of work, because without these jobs, a lot of people would just go into the world of work quite blind, unaware of the importance of professionalism and that sort of environment and culture. And also, it's a chance for people to just learn on the job and learn quickly. And we think that is a crucial part of our economy and something that we should continue to encourage people to have a chance to do. You disagree there?
So you don't think we tell schools, but I can tell you that 3,200 secondary schools in the UK get our information on careers in the industry through our Career Scope magazines.
Well, Stephen, the question I'd ask you is, where were you at my school? Because I had no idea about all the opportunities that were available in hospitality. So the argument here is to say, maybe we have to look at doing better. Maybe we have to look at doing better. So for example, my first job was as a tour guide in the city of Oxford. And I grew up in East London, so you could describe my knowledge of the local area as non-existent. But what I was able to do is get my first step on the ladder and start to understand what professionalism and the world of work really meant. And that has two important implications for today's debate. Number one, it's okay if some people use the hospitality sector as a flexible area whereby they can come in during their summer holidays or their holidays in between university and make a bit of money, right? They may never come back to the hospitality sector, but that's okay because both parties have gained from this relationship. But the second thing to say that is massively important for today's debate is that the hospitality sector has to make it clear when people are in these summer holiday hospitality jobs that there is a future in this industry. You can go on beyond being the tour guide. Maybe you can be the manager of the tour guide company, right? And that is the key part of today's debate. We have to give students the long-term idea of what they could be doing in 10 or 20 years so we don't lose them to other industries. And if that doesn't happen, then yes, unfortunately, the hospitality sector will remain just a holiday job in the eyes of young people. I beg to propose. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Ade. Nice to see that it's getting a bit heated. That's what we like to see in a debate. That's what it's all about. So now we go to side opposition, and this is the last speech before we come to you for the floor debate. So you'll be having an opportunity to ask any points or ask any questions or make any points during that. But before we do that, we're going to hear from Stephen Moss, who's the founder and chairman of Springboard Charity. Not only was he called to the bar to become a barrister, he's also done some debating at school. So we're really looking forward to Stephen's speech. So give it up for Stephen.
And I also remember boxing in my primary school, so just watch out. So the notion that hospitality is just a holiday job is frankly preposterous, given the fact that the industry employs no less than 3 million people of all ages and all backgrounds, of whom only a tiny proportion work in it as a holiday job. There is nothing inherently wrong, as you said, with taking on a holiday job in the industry, as it enables you to learn about customer service, working in a team, how to handle challenges, and so on. But it is a mere amuse-bouche on the a la carte menu of opportunities to progress through the appetizer of one's first full-time role onto the entree of a step up of the career ladder and the potential for your long-term just desserts. But we wouldn't have 3 million people working in the industry if the career opportunities were not there and the range of opportunities were not as vast as they are, from the kitchen to front of house, from reception to housekeeping, from marketing to buildings maintenance, and from concierge to hotel manager. And as chairman of Springboard, I would be the first to say, point of information.
Accepted?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, and I think you're right. These things do exist, and there's loads out there, but also, the majority of the jobs in hospitality are minimum wage, long hours, grueling work, often seasonal. How do you inspire young people when they might not be able to make it to those CEO levels and just have to, be doing the hard slog? Just the amuse-bouche, they can't even afford the a la carte.
Well, they will get to the a la carte, and it is as has been said, and you saw on the film, every day is different, every day is exciting, and there are opportunities for all, and to progress. And we still have a perception problem, but the changes over the last 20 years in terms of pay levels, in terms of conditions, in terms of training and career development, the quality of the management programs, and indeed all our efforts at Springboard, mean that our research, as has been said, now shows that 53% of secondary school kids would consider a career in the industry. And that's why in the last 12 months, we've seen a record 9,150 kids enter our Future Chef competition. We've seen over 1,000 schools work with us on a regular basis, how we handled over 150,000 career inquiries, gave over 22,000 specialist career guidance sessions, and arranged over 15,000 structured work experience opportunities. So we might not get to Newham every day of the week, but we sure as hell are getting to a lot of secondary schools. And to refer to it as just a holiday job is frankly a bit of an insult to some of the kids that have come through our programs and now have fantastic careers. And it's a bit of an insult to some of our industry leaders like Bill Toner, who started working in hotels to avoid following his family into the pits and is now CEO of CH&Co, or David Lowy, who started off as a kitchen porter and is now managing director of D&D. And there are many, many more Bills and Davids whose stories I could tell. But if young people, like those proposing the motion today, still think of our industry in poor light, then it's up to you in the room to work with us at Springboard and with the BHA to change the perception still further, to make a step change difference. Many of you are our business partners, but if you're not already, please join us on a campaign that we will be spearheading in conjunction with the BHA to make a real difference to the challenges that lie ahead. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Stephen. A fantastic speech. You definitely haven't lost your skills from your school days. So now we come over to you for the floor debate. So it's your opportunity to ask any questions to either side or to make any points. And I think we should have some microphones going around. So if you want to raise your hand, if you have a point, we'll come to a few people. Yeah, great. And when you've got the microphone, if you could just say your name so that the speakers know who you are. Thanks.
Hi there, my name is Andy Borer. I'm the principal of the Edge Hotel School. I didn't realise when I came in this morning that I would be committing professional suicide in front of such an august audience. Can I just make a couple of points? reasons why people, or certainly young people today, might think of this as a holiday job. Part-time, low wages, the treatment of staff, zero-hour contracts. If that's the way people are treated when they start off at low-level jobs, what do you think the expectation will be when they continue? People like Springboard are doing an absolutely magnificent job, but there are very, very few really good young role models. The video we just saw didn't have one young person in it. Where are the role models?
Okay, thank you very much. And as I said, the points will not be answered individually. The summary speakers will try and address as many of them as possible.
Hi, Ed Burke in BHA. At the risk of also committing career suicide, 74% of hospitality businesses employ less than 10 people. Now, while there's potentially a lot of career progression at the bigger companies, obviously in a smaller company this isn't really the case. So potentially even if someone joining this company can move into a bigger company to progress their career, perhaps looking on the flip side, for 74% of the companies in the industry, perhaps there isn't a career for the people working in those, even if there is for the people working in the larger companies.
Thank you very much. Excellent point. We've got someone over that side. Yeah.
I'd just like to ask, if I go for a drink, I go for a lot of drinks, but if I go for a particular drink, I know that if I go back to that same place, the same bar, in a month's time, it is unlikely I will come across the same bar staff because the industry has a high turnover. So if it is a career, why is there such a high turnover of staff?
Could you just say your name for us?
Sorry, my name's Sanjay.
Thank you very much, Sanjay. Any more points or questions? Yep, we've got one down here.
Thanks very much. Lance Narayan from caterer.com. In order to prevent these jobs from being just holiday jobs, what is the industry doing to retain employees? And following on from that past question, what can the industry do more to retain those people and keep those careers going?
Thank you very much. Did I see a hand over here? Right. Any other points or questions? Hasn't actually been that many challenges for the proposition. Has anyone got any questions for them? Yeah.
Hi, this is to the proposition side. You've put a lot of onus on the industry to come and get you. What do you think your generation is doing to prove that you have the skills and the mettle and the desire to be part of this great industry? Is it all the fault of the old people in the room, or do you guys share a bit of the blame too?
Any other points or questions before we move on? Right, well, thank you very much to everyone from the floor. Some interesting points around role models and retention, as well as the skills that young people need to be successful in the industry. So thank you, everyone, for your contributions. What we're going to do now is go to the summary speakers, who will summarize the debate, as well as address some of those points. And we reverse the summary speakers at Debate Mate. So we're going to be going with the summary speaker from the opposition first, which is Steve Cassidy. Steve's the reason we're here. So when he said next door, he said, are we really going to do this? I was like, Steve, you were the one that suggested it. So we're really excited about the debate. Steve is the Senior VP and MD for UK and Ireland at Hilton. As we said before, our first training within Hilton was with Steve's team, and he was absolutely fantastic. So we're really excited about seeing him take part in the debate this afternoon. So give it up for Steve.
The words "no pressure" come to mind, yeah? I think there are three words that I would use in summing up our pitch. One is variety, the other one is opportunity, and the third one is progression. And I think some of those words play out in the response to the answers that we received from the audience. High turnover can be a good thing if it means progression and movement and variety of experiences. The experience of turning up in a cafe and seeing a different person doesn't necessarily mean that they've left the hospitality industry. Perhaps that's an indication of the success and the opportunity and the progression and the variety that this wonderful industry offers to us. The one of retention that was brought up is a similar debate. It's good retention, it's good turnover. That's what we as an industry perhaps need to focus on, creating excellent team member value propositions, fantastic employee experiences to encourage more continuity within the industry. So those three words, variety, opportunity, and progression. But I will directly respond to this point around perception with some statistics. Our industry employs 3 million people. We're the 4th largest employer in the UK. In fact, in the world, we employ 10% of workers. They can't all come from holiday jobs. There must be a good job being done at encouraging young people into our industry and creating a great environment of careers for them to stay. The statistics speak for themselves. When research is done by Springboard, 53% of young people would consider it a career in hospitality. There's two elements to this. That's a good story. It could be better. And if we can make it better, hold on 2 minutes. The same research tells us that 82% of young people don't actually have a career plan. So what an amazing opportunity to work on the perception of our industry and attract that amazing talent into our industry.
Do you not think that the fact that when you do your GCSEs, they're split into your GCSEs and hospitality is put in the BTEC section and almost diminished? Do you not think that's having an effect on the perception of the hospitality sector for young people?
I think that is the best point that's been made all night, all day, because I think there is a fantastic opportunity for us to work with education, work with government on shifting the balance from exclusively academic qualifications and into more vocational, so that we can work on changing that perception of our industry, to highlight those three words, the variety, the opportunity, and the progression that does exist. The opportunity to work in multiple functions, to operate across borders, across the world. The opportunity to be promoted quicker in our industry, to achieve positions of leadership and management quicker than any other industry. So, I think we're in a fantastic industry. I think we've done a great job so far. Clearly, it's not just a holiday job. It is a holiday job, but it's also more than that. It's a career that offers huge variety, boundless opportunity, unrivaled progression opportunities. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you very much, Steve. The pressure obviously did a good thing because that was a fantastic summary speech for side opposition. And now we hear from our final speaker, the summary speaker from side proposition. There's Iffy. Iffy's 18 years old and he's just finished at school at the Bridge Academy in Hackney. We're lucky enough to have him working on his gap year with us at the office at the DebateMate HQ. Iffy's a pretty special speaker because he is the current school's world champion debater. It's not very often you get to sit in a room with a world champion, so it's very exciting. And not only that, so if he was selected to represent England, he was only the 3rd person from a state school to be on the England team. It's usually the people, students from schools that you would imagine, Eton, Westminster, Dulwich. So when Iffy got called up from a school in Hackney, it was very exciting. And I mentioned the TV show. No offense, Ade. Ade was on the TV show. We were ready. When the TV show went out, we were like, the press are going to be calling. It's going to be this huge thing. We didn't get many people contact us. If he gets selected for England, the phone didn't stop ringing. Everyone wanted to comment. It was the most exciting story. Not only did he get selected, that England went on to win the World Championships last summer. So that was very great news for everyone. I could go on listing all of Iffy's achievements, but at the moment, he's also the advisor to the European Youth forum. And I asked Iffy what he wanted to do after he finishes his degree, which he's starting next year at Bristol University. He said, well, it's obvious, isn't it? I want to take Margaret McCabe's role, which is the CEO of DebateMate. So he's looking to step into her role when he finishes university. So give it up for Iffy.
If you were all to go into some of the hundreds of schools we work in the UK and ask our young people, what do you want to be when they grow up? You'll hear them say a lawyer, a doctor, working in banking. For the creative ones, you'll hear them say they want to be an actor or a singer or a musician. For the entrepreneurs, you'll hear them say they want their own tech company, they want to run their own business. But the reality is, none of them will tell you their dream job is to work in hospitality. And that is an issue the hospitality industry hasn't fixed and needs to fix. Because the truth is, if you want to get a job seeming like a career, from a young age, you need people to aspire to it. You need people to see it as a vision, as a dream. And currently, no one is doing that. So I'm going to ask two questions. What makes a job a career? And do enough young people know about the industry? So firstly, what makes a job a career? Because as one of the questions from the floor pointed out, high turnover is often the thing which makes it feel like this is just a career. And while they say, maybe high turnover means they're moving up into different places in the hospitality industry, the reality is high turnover happens because they leave. Because they work in the summer and work in a bar, and once they finish their summer, they go back to uni and they don't consider it again. They don't move up into higher positions. Because the reality is, as was pointed out, most hospitality jobs are small business. And while it's fine if you work in a huge hotel and you're like, here's the 50-year plan for me, if the vast majority of hospitality jobs are small business, there isn't a high career progression for you. And once you get into the entry level, that is the only place you can stay. The other thing we heard from the floor, which we think is true, is one of the things which make it seem like just a job, is the way your first experiences as a young person. Being on minimum wage, a zero contract hour, that doesn't make you think this is a career which I aspire to. Even some of the things which were said in the video, oh, where are we going to target next? Let's try and target the coastal regions, because that's where there's going to be unemployment. That doesn't make it seem like as an industry and as a career, you are looking to make this an attractive place. That seems like you're trying to target the young people who have the least amount of alternatives, and so they will go into hospitality. And that's what hospitality has always done, targeted the people with less options and targeted them. If you want hospitality to be seen as a career, it means all young people, right from the brightest in school, right to the ones who maybe aren't as academic, see it as a career they can go into. And that currently doesn't happen. And while it's okay to say, yes, we go into schools and we have our leaflets and people know about it, it's still not good enough. Because when you say 53% of people consider it a career, I don't think 53% is that high. If you ask people about being a lawyer, being a doctor, you won't see 53% of people saying it's a career. You'll see 100%. 53% literally means half of the people you ask don't even see it as a viable career. That shouldn't be considered good enough. That shouldn't be considered good enough for a career which has so much options, which has so much variety, that half of the young people you speak to don't even see where that variety is. The reality is, perception is everything to an industry. And it doesn't matter how much opportunities you have and how much opportunities we can laugh about in this room. The average young person on the street doesn't see those opportunities. They don't see the career progression. Because if I want to be a lawyer, I know what the next steps are. I know I do this, and then I get my contract, and I become a lawyer, and hopefully I become a partner, I run my own firm. The reality is most of the high jobs in the hospitality industry use words a young person's never heard of. Use words and concepts and jargon that is inaccessible to them. So if you want to see what makes a job a career, it needs to be fun and engaging, but more importantly, it needs to look fun and engaging. And currently, the hospitality industry just isn't there. Thank you.
So thank you very much again to all of our speakers this afternoon. What a fantastic debate. Let's give them another round of applause. And I promise you, they are still friends at the end. They'll shake hands. So I think we have a few more minutes, which means that we need to do the vote. So you need to decide whether you're for or against this motion, or whether hospitality is just a holiday job. And then Steve is going to do some closing remarks. So we are going to do the voting in the way that we do it with our students at our big competitions, which is slightly different. So you're going to be voting with volume, either with clapping or cheering or however you want to do it. It's partly fun, but also my eyesight's not great and I won't be very good at counting all of the hands. So when I point to the side, you need to cheer if you think they've won this debate. So on the proposition, it's that hospitality is just a holiday job, and the opposition is disagreeing with that topic. So when I point to them, you cheer. You can only choose one side, okay? So all those in favor of the proposition that the hospitality is just a holiday job, if you want to clap or cheer now. Okay? You're not allowed to vote, guys. And all those with the opposition, please cheer now. You can't. So I've got Ben at the back who said it's a bit even. Let's try one more time with the proposition. And with the opposition. Ben's saying it's just on that side, but I'd say it's pretty even. So you guys did a very good job, because I think pretty much everyone was standing up at the beginning, which goes to show the quality of the debating, the experience of the debaters on this side. But everyone that spoke today was absolutely fantastic. So thank you all for watching, taking part in the floor debate, and to all the speakers. I'm going to hand over to Steve now just for a few closing remarks.
Thank you very much, Jess. Did you enjoy that? Yeah, it was really quite insightful. I mean, what an amazingly inspiring set of young people, which was demonstrated in the vote at the end, I think. So many congratulations to you guys for that. So I'm going to ask a couple of people to help me sum up, if that's okay. I mean, Aoife, to begin with, have you got any, taking your hat off in the debate, what are your views of the hospitality industry and our challenge with recruitment and retention and career opportunities?
I think the hospitality industry obviously has so many amazing opportunities. I think just being involved in the summit, I've learned so many things which I didn't even think were considered to be part of the hospitality industry. But I think that's the problem. Everything we said, perception is just as important as the reality. And I think that needs to be plugged more. Like, some of the things which Springboard is doing is fantastic, and they're doing great work. I think taking it to its next step is making sure not just that you're going to schools and you're going to colleges, but at every level, whether that's at the highest board meetings, you're thinking, and where can we engage young people? Where can we make sure when we're talking about young people, there's actually a young person in the room who can give their opinions? And I would always say, like, if the industry wants to engage young people, whether that's the brightest, whether that's the ones who maybe not as academic, we need to make sure they engage them and come and get them.
Well said. Will you come and work in the hospitality industry?
Let's see how much variety there is.
Great. I'm sure a few business cards will be coming your way shortly. And good luck with your university education. Okay, we've also got a lady, Serena. Is Serena here? That's Serena. Do you have a few words to say, Serena?
I think that there was a point made about small businesses and not being able to give a really good career progression to people because of the size and the limitations of that. And I run a small business, and I see it as a trade. The people that come to me come and give their all to make my business better and to grow the business and for us to make our business as great and to be as good as we can be. But the flip to that is that I have to make them as good as I can make them for the time that I've got them. And I consider it a failure if they leave me with the same set of skills that they arrived with. And it's part of the deal, as far as I see it, that they leave me with a whole load of new skills and have a whole world of potential they didn't have when they first came to me.
Well said. Thank you very much. So listen, I think there's a couple of takeaways and potentially asks as part of this discussion. You know, at the heart of everything we do is the fact that we're a business of people serving people. And I think that there's an opportunity here with government, with the education bodies, and Aoife mentioned it in his pitch as well, to work on that shift away from a full focus on academic and move more towards vocational training and qualifications in education. I think there's a fabulous opportunity because that perception will change as we develop that narrative in education. We clearly need to work on perception. We've done an amazing job so far. The statistics speak for themselves. 4th largest employer in the UK with 3 million people. That's not just people doing holiday jobs. Those are people in careers in hospitality. But the challenges that we face, some of the headwinds on employment, some of the opportunities that growth and job creation is going to bring, means that the pressure on talent is all that greater. Therefore, we need to up our game as far as changing perceptions. So I think the second and final ask for me is around mobilizing ourselves and our people into the education environment to just encourage, to inspire, to tell our story about what an amazing industry this is, full of potential and opportunity and variety. Thank you very much for listening to us.